What's up, folks? Thrilled to welcome you back to Tips and Streams, the go-to court for the slickest NBA betting plays. Call me Eddie, the new playmaker at Tips and Streams, packing over 30 years of playbook mastery in NBA and NFL analytics. I'm here to quarterback our journey through today's NBA game predictions. Get ready to ride the high of today's episode, jam-packed with the hottest NBA matchups. I'm on the edge of my seat, ready to dive deep into our top picks and insider advice. Whether you're a seasoned vet in the betting game or just lacing up for your first run, today's show is tailor-made for your game. Stay on your toes, and let's break down today's NBA betting insights right here on Tips and Streams. The first today's prediction is for the matchup between Houston Rockets and Boston Celtics. Tonight's basketball face-off is a thrilling encounter between the Houston Rockets and the Boston Celtics. The Rockets, boasting a commendable 19-18 record, are stepping onto the court for a tough back-to-back challenge, having previously secured just 2 wins in their last 6 such matchups this season. In contrast, the Celtics are flying high with a stellar 29-9 record, showcasing their dominant play. In terms of shooting accuracy, the Celtics hold a narrow lead with a 47.85% field goal average, slightly better than the Rockets' 46.29%. This superiority extends to three-pointers, where Boston leads with 37.47% compared to Houston's 36.48%. The Celtics also have the upper hand in rebounding, averaging 47.13 per game, over the Rockets' 44.97. Offensively, both squads are on par, but the Celtics take the spotlight, averaging 120.82 points per game, eclipsing the Rockets' 112.67. The assist game is almost tied, with the Celtics marginally leading with an average of 25.76 assists per game, just ahead of the Rockets' 25.06. Looking at their past encounters in Boston, the narrative is mixed. The Rockets have triumphed and beaten the spread twice in their last 5 visits. However, recent trends tell a different story. The Rockets have had a rough patch, with a 1-4 record against the spread in their recent games and a 1-5 record against the spread and straight up in their last 6 games against the Celtics. On the other hand, the Celtics have been unstoppable at home, boasting a perfect 10-0 record in their last 10 home games. Injury reports indicate the Rockets are missing Dillon Brooks, a notable absence, while the Celtics are in top form with no key injuries. The odds heavily favor the Celtics with a 15.5-point spread, and the game's total points are set at 227.5. But there's more to this game than just numbers. This clash between the Rockets and Celtics is more than just a regular NBA game. 2 years ago, Ime Udoka, who's now coaching the Rockets, faced a scandalous exit from the Celtics after an affair with a franchise owner's wife. This event deeply affected Udoka, leading to a hiatus from his career. Tonight's game against his former team is not just a game for Udoka, it's a quest for redemption and a chance to prove his dismissal was a mistake. In conclusion, while the stats favor the Celtics, I believe the Rockets, driven by their coach's personal vendetta, have a strong chance to defy the odds. My prediction goes beyond the numbers. I expect the Houston Rockets to at least cover the 16-point spread tonight. The next today's prediction is for the game between Washington Wizards and Atlanta Hawks. As we dive deep into the season, we're gearing up for a mesmerizing showdown. The Washington Wizards are taking their game to the Atlanta Hawks court. The Wizards, battling through a tough season with a 6-31 record, are stepping into the Hawks' nest, where the home team holds a slightly more favorable record of 15-22. But the matchup is more than just numbers. It's a chess game of stats and recent trends. The Wizards, despite their shaky standings, are hitting the mark with a 47.97% field goal rate and racking up an impressive 115.19 points per game. They're also nailing three-pointers at a 35.26% clip and grabbing 39.41 rebounds per game, showing they've got some tricks up their sleeve. The Hawks, on the flip side, are a scoring machine, averaging 122.67 points per game. Their three-point game is slightly sharper at 36.49%, and they're dominating the boards with 45.00 rebounds per game. Looking at recent plays, the Wizards are in a bit of a slump, going 0-6 straight up in their last 6 and struggling on the road with a 1-10 straight up in their last 11 away games. Their history against the Hawks isn't helping, with a 0-6 straight up in recent matchups and a tough 1-8 record in their last visits to Atlanta. The Hawks, while having the home court edge and an impressive 8-1 straight up in their last 9 home games against the Wizards, are having a rough time with the spread. They're at 4-16 against the spread in their last 20 games and 2-12 in their last 14 at home. This streak of inconsistency is a red flag, especially in a back-to-back game situation where they've only bagged 2 wins out of 6 this season. In head-to-heads in Atlanta, the Hawks have been dominating, but the Wizards have shown some grit in covering the spread, doing so in half of their last 10 encounters. Injury reports add a twist to this tale. The Wizards might be missing Landry Shamet and Johnny Davis, while the Hawks are down DeAndre Hunter and Wesley Matthews. These absences might shake up the game dynamics, especially for the Hawks in this back-to-back scenario. The odds are in favor of the Hawks with a minus 7.5 point spread, considering their home turf and scoring edge. But with the Hawks' shaky record against the spread, and the Wizards' knack for covering, there's an interesting angle here. After weighing it all up, I'm leaning towards the Washington Wizards covering the spread. The Hawks' defensive gaps and the strain of back-to-back games could be their Achilles heel. The Wizards, despite the odds, have a history of hanging tight in challenging matchups, particularly against a team like the Hawks who've been struggling with the spread. So, while the Hawks might clinch the win at home, the smart money is on the Wizards to cover the plus 8-point spread, taking advantage of Atlanta's defensive slips and the wear and tear of consecutive games. The next today's prediction is for the game between New York Knicks and Memphis Grizzlies. Tonight's matchup is a real slam dunk of a game with the New York Knicks hitting the hardwood against the Memphis Grizzlies. The Knicks are balling out this season with a slick 22-16 record, leaving the Grizzlies in the dust at 14-24. New York's hoop dreams are on fire, averaging a sweet 115.68 points per game, outshooting the Grizzlies who lag behind with 108.14. When it comes to sinking buckets, the Knicks are on point, nailing a field goal percentage of 46.56%, while the Grizzlies trail with 44.09%. The Knicks are also raining threes with a stellar 37.75% accuracy, outclassing Memphis's 33.98%. But the Grizzlies do have a leg up in snagging rebounds, grabbing an average of 47.70 per game versus the Knicks' 45.70. The Knicks have been tearing up the court lately. They're 5-1 against the spread in their recent games and hold a similar record in straight wins. But their track record in Memphis, not so hot, with a 2-9 straight up in their last 11 visits. The Grizzlies, on the other hand, despite a rocky season, have held their ground at home against New York, scoring a solid 9-2 straight up in their recent home games against them. In their recent showdowns in Memphis, the Grizzlies have a slight edge. In the last 5 face-offs in Grind City, the Knicks clinched 2 wins but beat the spread in 4. This suggests that when these two teams clash, it's always a nail-biter. The injury lineup tonight could be a game-changer. The Knicks might miss key players like Mitchell Robinson and Jalen Brunson, but the Grizzlies are in deeper water with Derrick Rose, Steven Adams, Marcus Smart, Brandon Clark, Ja Morant, and Santi Aldama, all potentially out. With this being a back-to-back game for Memphis, and considering their struggle in such scenarios this season, it's an uphill battle for them. Despite the odds and spread favoring the Knicks, remember their recent stumble against a shorthanded Mavs team and Memphis's dogged performance despite their injuries. The Grizzlies might just defy the 8-point spread. They may not bag the win, but their grit and home advantage could make it a tighter game than many expect. To sum it up, the Knicks look set to keep their winning streak, but the wounded Grizzlies are ready to roar on their turf. Brace yourself for a showdown where the Knicks might edge out a victory, but expect Memphis to give them a run for their money. The next today's prediction is for the game between Golden State Warriors and Milwaukee Bucks. Tonight's hoop saga features the Golden State Warriors rolling into Milwaukee to duke it out with the Bucks. The vibe's charged as these basketball titans gear up for a titanic tussle. The Warriors, sporting an 18-20 record, bring their high-octane offense to the court, dropping an average of 116.81 points per game. They're shooting hoops with a solid 46.31% field goal accuracy and a slick 36.76% from beyond the arc. But they're balling through some tough times with aces like Chris Paul, Draymond Green, and Gary Payton on the bench, and Moses Moody's play being a game-time decision. Meanwhile, the Milwaukee Bucks, with a hefty 26-12 win-loss tally, step onto their home court as a force to reckon with. They've been scorching the nets, averaging 124.08 points per game, and their shooting game is on point with a 49.80% field goal and 37.85% three-point efficiency. Their rebounding stats are a notch below the Warriors, at 44.16 per game, but their stellar 16-3 home record speaks volumes. Recent trends show the Bucks as unpredictable against the spread, going 1-5 in their last 6 games, yet they're standing strong with an 11-5 straight-up record in their last 16. At home, they've dominated, going 5-2 against the spread in face-offs with the Warriors. The Warriors, on the other hand, have been stumbling on the road with a 2-8 straight-up record in their recent away games. But they've got game in back-to-backs, winning 5 of 6 this season, giving them a potential edge despite the fatigue. In their last few showdowns in Milwaukee, The Warriors have snagged just one win and cover in 4 games. Considering the Bucks' home court prowess, it's a tough climb for the visiting squad. The betting angle, though, spins an intriguing yarn. Odds makers are favoring the Bucks big time, with an 11-point spread, despite their defensive gaps. The Warriors, known for their tenacity in tough games and their knack for beating the odds, suggest this spread might be overstretched. Their offense, even short of some key players, is potent enough to keep them in the hunt. I'm siding with the Golden State Warriors to defy the odds and cover the hefty 11-point spread. The Bucks' offense is a juggernaut, particularly on their turf, but their defense isn't foolproof. The Warriors, with their resilience and knack for comebacks in back-to-back games, are poised to use their sharpshooting to narrow the gap more than the spread hints. My call? The Warriors cover the spread and the total points fall below the towering 245. The next today's prediction is for the game between Orlando Magic and Oklahoma City Thunder. Tonight's matchup between the Orlando Magic and the Oklahoma City Thunder is gearing up to be an epic battle on the hardwood. The Magic, rolling in with a solid 21-17 tally, are squaring off against the Thunder, who are sitting pretty at an impressive 26-11. Playing on the Thunder's turf, this game is loaded with intricate plays and patterns, key for anyone placing their bets. The Magic's performance lately has been a roller coaster. They've battled hard, with a record of 8-4 against the spread in their recent dozen games, but they've been less successful in head-to-head battles, particularly against the Thunder. Injuries are hitting them hard too. Gary Harris, Kevin Harris, Franz Wagner, and Jonathan Isaac are benched, and Wendell Carter Jr.'s playtime is up in the air. This poses serious questions about their bench strength and ability to counter the Thunder's scoring drives. On the flip side, the Thunder are riding high on a winning streak. Their average score of 122.33 points per game overshadows the Magic's 113.30, and they're shooting more efficiently too, with a 50.67% field goal rate and 39.70% accuracy from beyond the arc. Their teamwork shines in their higher assist count per game at 27.14, crucial for keeping their offense firing on all cylinders. In direct confrontations, the Thunder have been the dominant force, especially on their home court. With a commanding 12-2 record in their last 14 home games against Orlando, they've shown their strength. The Magic's shaky road record of 1-4 in their latest 5 away games further tilts the scales in Oklahoma City's favor. Another factor to consider is the Magic's back-to-back game scenario. They've struggled in these consecutive games, winning just 2 out of 7. This could really test their stamina and overall game, especially against a fresh and full-strength Thunder team. Eyeing the betting lines, the Thunder are the favorites, with a significant 11.5-point spread, and the total points are pegged at 232. This spread mirrors the Thunder's commanding presence and their recent success against the spread, winning 10 out of their last 14. The Magic, despite a decent record against the spread, are facing a tough challenge, particularly with their weakened squad. In sum, taking into account team performance, head-to-head history, injuries, and the Magic's consecutive game challenge, it's a strong bet on the Oklahoma City Thunder not just to win, but to also beat the spread. Their scoring efficiency, home court leverage, and the Magic's injury and fatigue issues all point to a win for the Thunder. Bet on the Oklahoma City Thunder to triumph and cover the 11.5-point spread. The next today's prediction is for the game between New Orleans Pelicans and Dallas Mavericks. Tonight's hoop battle showcases the New Orleans Pelicans clashing with the Dallas Mavericks. Tied at 23 victories and 16 defeats apiece, this clash is set to be a full-court thriller. The Pelicans, bouncing back from a tough back-to-back, are ready to slam despite their hectic schedule. In their recent back-to-back history, they've snagged only 2 victories out of 5, yet their fighting spirit is undeniable. Analyzing the stats, the Pelicans have a slim advantage in shooting, netting 48.67% from the field, edging out the Mavericks' 47.21%. Their sharpshooting extends to three-point land too, hitting 38.22% compared to the Mavericks' 36.84%. This precision could be a key playmaker. On the rebound front, the Pelicans dominate, grabbing an average of 44.58 boards per game, surpassing the Mavericks' 42.18. The Mavericks, however, are hot on their heels with assists, dishing out 25.26 per game against the Pelicans' 26.76, showcasing their knack for crafting scoring plays. Injury updates throw a curveball. Zion Williamson's uncertain play for the Pelicans might shake up their offensive rhythm, while the Mavericks contend with several key players out, including star Luka Doncic. Looking at past face-offs in Dallas, the Mavericks have the upper hand, with the Pelicans only securing 1 win in their last 5 visits. But current form reveals the Pelicans are 5-2 2 against the spread in their latest 7 games and 7-1 straight up in their past 8 on the road. The Mavericks stand strong at home, boasting a 7-1 straight up record in their recent 8 hosting the Pelicans. Bookies tip the Mavericks as favorites with a 2.5-point spread, and the total points set at 229.5 suggests a lean towards a lower scoring affair. Factoring in both squads' scoring and defensive prowess, my forecast leans towards the total staying under 230 points. To wrap up, while the Mavericks hold the home court and a solid history against the Pelicans in Dallas, the recent road form of the Pelicans is too strong to overlook. Expect a defensive showdown, with the final score likely hovering below 230. The Pelicans, though, could surprise, potentially flipping the script in this edge-of-the-seat matchup. The next today's prediction is for the game between Chicago Bulls and San Antonio Spurs. Tonight's showdown between the Chicago Bulls and the San Antonio Spurs is gearing up to be a basketball thriller. Both squads are bouncing off recent games, with the Bulls holding a 18-22 record and the Spurs at a challenging 7-30. Don't let the numbers fool you, though. This matchup is more than just stats on paper. The Bulls, with their slick plays, are netting an average of 109.37 points a game, just shy of the Spurs' 111.86. But in shooting accuracy, the Bulls have a slight upper hand, with a 45.48% field goal rate, nudging past the Spurs' 45.76%. From downtown, the Bulls are hitting 35.50%, edging over the Spurs' 34.33%. The rebound game is tight too, with the Bulls pulling down an average of 43.39 rebounds and the Spurs at 42.89. Interestingly, the Spurs are dishing out more assists, averaging 28.86 per game compared to the Bulls' 23.55. On the road, the Bulls have been tough, covering the spread in 6 of their last 8 away games, but they've stumbled in back-to-back games, with only 2 wins out of 7 this season. The Spurs, while struggling in their back-to-backs, have shown tenacity on their home court, especially against Chicago, with a trend of high-scoring games. Injury reports show the Bulls missing Torrey Craig and Lonzo Ball, and the Spurs without Zach Collins. This could shake up the Bulls' strategy and depth. Recent trends highlight the Bulls' strength against the spread in their last 20 games and their dominance over the Spurs in recent encounters. However, the Spurs have been defying the odds lately, covering the spread in their last 5 games. The Bulls have faltered in their recent road back-to-backs, including a loss to the Detroit Pistons. Factoring in the fatigue from consecutive games, the Spurs' home court edge, and the Bulls' struggles in similar situations, this clash might be tighter than expected. The Bulls are favored by 5.5 points with an over-under of 225.5, but considering the dynamics, I'm leaning towards the Spurs to beat the 6-point spread. They've got home advantage, youthful energy, and a form that could challenge the Bulls. The last prediction for today is for the matchup between Los Angeles Lakers and Utah Jazz. Tonight's showdown features the Los Angeles Lakers and the Utah Jazz going head-to-head at Vivint Smart Home Arena in Salt Lake City. This game is teeing up to be a real nail-biter, given the team's recent track records and stats. The Lakers, sitting at a 20-20 record, have hit a rough patch lately. They've been faltering against the spread in their recent 6 outings, going 1-5, and they tend to rack up scores higher than the total points predicted. But they've shown some solid hustle against Northwest Division rivals, with a strong 5-1 record against the spread in these matchups. LeBron James, though his play tonight is up in the air, continues to be the Lakers' ace, especially with his latest performances on court. Flipping the script to the Utah Jazz, who are close behind with a 19-20 record, they're bouncing back from a packed schedule with 7 back-to-back games this season, clinching 3 wins in those. At home, the Jazz are a force to be reckoned with, rocking a flawless 7-0 record in their recent homestands. Their against the spread game is just as impressive, boasting a 10-2 record in their last 12. Statistically, the Lakers have the upper hand in shooting accuracy from the field and beyond the arc. However, the Jazz dominate the boards and dish out more assists per game. This sets the stage for a tight battle, with each team bringing its A-game. Looking back, the Lakers have taken the W in 6 of their last 10 face-offs against the Jazz, but haven't been as successful in beating the spread, doing so in just half of those games. In their last 6 games on the Jazz's turf, it's a dead heat with 3 wins apiece. Injury-wise, the Lakers are in a bit of a bind with several key players, including LeBron, listed as questionable, which might throw a wrench in their game plan. The Jazz, however, are at full strength, a factor that could tip the scales in their favor, considering the Lakers' recent stumbles and the Jazz's solid home game. All things considered, the scales are tipping towards the Utah Jazz snagging a win on their home court. They've got the momentum, particularly with their solid against the spread record and home court prowess. the Lakers might give it their all, but given the Jazz's current form and the Lakers' injury woes, Utah seems to have the upper hand. The game's also likely to surpass the total points bar set at 237.5.